Hey everyone, Sharpan here. I am back with video 2 in this video series or this sequence of videos where I try to elaborate on the evolution of the global exchange token, what that means for the holders of the GXT, but more importantly, what that means for the potential of global exchange token. In the previous video, and I really implore you to go watch it, simply because I do give kind of historical context about how GXT was meant to proliferate in terms of its use case, being the brokerages, and how we have now inadvertently positioned it to proliferate. And I think that's a really interesting phenomenon. Again, I'm every day thinking, every day criticizing, every day scrutinizing what it is that we can do, not just to drive demand in one direction for a short period of time by creating a hype cycle, but how we can leverage the multi-network, cross-platform ecosystem that we've built to be able to empower themselves with the GXT. Now, that may be slightly annoying for you guys to hear, especially those who bought GXT. I cannot speak from the position of somebody who's looking at global exchange token as purely an investment, because for me, that's not what it is. And I think that I can also speak for a lot of the brokers who looked at the GX broker opportunity as the primary incentive for driving GXT purchases. But all of that's changing. That's what I covered in the last video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how it's changing. So, demand cycles have to create, the good way that I was taught to look at demand cycles, or even a long-term demand curve, would be like when you drop something in the middle of the water. Let's say you drop a pebble in the middle of the water. And what happens is it starts to wave. And it's not clear as to where the demand or where the wave is starting or finishing, because it's a continuum. But what you do know, even without the deepest understanding of what's going on in the water, you know that every ripple is predicated on the previous one. I mean, that's observable to a 5-year-old watching that. That's so incredibly similar to how markets work from a general perspective. Obviously, markets are highly variegated, but when you think about what creates demand, the best way to describe that is a domino effect, a ripple effect. You don't create demand by one thing, one product, one announcement. That creates demand side pressure. Demand side pressure for, like, if you want to really learn about it, I would suggest going on trade.stream and learning, there's some great kind of videos about demand side pressure. But demand side pressure is usually followed with sell side pressure. On the other hand, you have something that gradually builds demand over time. It was Warren Buffett that used to always say, or it was Benjamin Graham, Warren Buffett's mentor who wrote Securities Analysis, and then Warren Buffett probably made this quote famous, which is, in the short term, the stock market is a popularity machine, or a voting machine, you would say. And in the long term, it's a weighing machine. And it's far too early to tell in cryptocurrency, can that axiom be imported here? But it's definitely the plausibility if you're building a closed ecosystem, even within crypto or outside crypto. Now, if you're an open network system such as Bitcoin, it's still the story's yet to be told. The choir isn't done singing. But with something like a closed network ecosystem that's really deriving its value from the use cases it builds, which is not Bitcoin, and for anybody that thinks that is, it's just not the case, then you have really similarities between what Buffett would say and what even in crypto, a company could create from a closed ecosystem perspective. And that's, I think, where we've now matured to. The brokerage equation for token evaluation is simple. It's brilliant. It's combining the real estate economic analysis of a landlord and the person that's renting from the landlord to build a restaurant. You're both of those people as a broker. You're sucking supply out of the system, thus you're taking something from someone else, whether the world acknowledges it yet, that's fine. But the other thing you're doing is you have the ability just by acquiring the scarce asset to earn. And so you're the landlord and the restaurant owner, which is a blessing. And if you just expanded that, ran that against any regression analysis, you would realize very quickly that that model compounds and just goes. I love that idea so much, by the way. I mean, it's just so incredible, which is why we're never going to change that aspect of the GXT. But what we're introducing is definitely going to be amusing. And it would be an injustice if I just start ripping off why it's going to be amusing. Because, long story short, we have a diverse basket of companies that we have influence over, or we have made deals with people who are also creating very interesting companies. With that being said, we have a list of vendors, use cases that will accept global exchange token as payment. Now, before you react to that last sentence, an audience, don't react. You're not a developer. So before you react to that sentence, I'm not even slightly implying that you're going to buy chips with global exchange token and that's what we're committing the rest of our livelihood to. No, it is not meant to compete with an everyday use fiat currency. However, it could be used every day. It could be used where fiat currency is used, but it's not meant for that. It's not meant to compete with that. What it's meant for, actually, and in the bigger sense of the word, it's looking at global exchange's initial vision of being a operating system that houses many apps. For those of you that have explored globalexchange.com, you can see the early carvings of what's going to be a vibrant app store for apps developed by global exchange developers and people that don't care about global exchange, that just want to distribute their crypto apps in a way where it can reach people. Now you add into that, what if that app store, which has already garnered traction because we have enterprises and brands that are dynamically disrupting other industries, not even in crypto, we'll talk about that. But what if that basket of apps in a growing application market was accepting GXT as payment for their non-cryptocurrency related services? In some cases, I mean, that's not accurate. In some cases, it is related to crypto. But in a lot of cases, it doesn't need to be. Okay, so if you didn't get everything I just said, let me summarize it real quick. Over the next several days, we will be going over a roadmap for Global Exchange Token. In this roadmap, there will be dates, there will be brands, and there will be numbers. Each brand will be coming out and endorsing their acceptance of the GX token as an alternative payment method on the date in degree with the numbers that we say. So now, Global Exchange Token has changed fundamentally. Why? Let me just give you one of the companies that will accept it. Company that, we just go with, let's say, let's say crypto lottery or InstaCrypto. Let's use InstaCrypto because I think it'll hit closer to home. Let's say InstaCrypto has services, functions, products outside of its primary business model of being a search engine connecting you to crypto. Let's say it's selling something. Let's say it's selling memberships. And then what this means, and in almost all of the cases that I'm going to announce in the roadmap, all the companies, they're membership oriented. They're in legal, crypto compliance, accounting, software development, compute as a service, cosmetics, e-commerce, of course cryptocurrency. Every way we can imagine, we're going to look and say, hey, this is an industry, this is an ecosystem, this is a brand we like. We want to cryptofy them. We want to put them on the GX App Store at no cost to them. We want to give them all the Vault Services APIs, give them an entire bank to put in their app. And finally, we're going to say, do you want to join the GX Consortium? And the GX Consortium, the GXT Consortium is an ever-growing list of companies, startups, brands, influencers, etc., that have opted in to accept Global Exchange Token for their products and services. We will never allow a company that only allows payment via GXT. No, their primary payment has to be dollars or something else. And the GXT is an alternative. GXT will be the cross-border commercial currency for many, many, many applications and businesses. I think it will virtualize a lot of the things happening right now. Why I say that? Because of our existing consortium partners. So now and I'm going to talk about the psychology of the new GX token holder in the next video, but just remember for 1 second, everybody who has GXT now is in bed, which is a good thing, with the GX broker ethos, the GX broker business model, is in love with it, despises it, something to do with GX broker, and the entirety of the GXT, literally why thousands of people ended up buying it, is because they wanted to be a broker. It could have been Apple Juice Coin. They would have taken it to become a broker. What that displayed to me, even without me being cognizant of it, is that, oh snap, that's a means to an end. That's fiat currency. Fiat currency is not you want to stack USD. Fiat currency is you want to buy things. Global Exchange Token had already been the medium of exchange for people wanting to become a crypto broker. Watch this roadmap. You will see there's going to be a lot different in terms of who's accepting it. That list, that consortium list, changes everything about the economics of Global Exchange Token without removing or bastardizing the existing model, which I know all of you love, and I know all of you want to see to come to fruition. In the next video, I'll talk about how the economics change, where the demand side pressure is now created. Thank you.